Okay, so why are we looking at arrays? What are we going to do? Well, the first part of today's project is we're going to be building one of these wooden shipping pallets. Um, if we look at a pallet, you can see there's a lot of repeating elements to it, so we can do this with arrays. Now, pallets come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, but there is a standard Euro size. There's also a standard American size, but I'll be working in this Euro size pallet today because I found this picture with all the dimensions on it, which is perfect for what we need. So basically the pallet is 800 by 1200 millimeters. I think in North America you'll find pallets which are 40 by 48 inches, things like that. But anyway, we have all the dimensions we need on this. So this is what we'll be doing. Blender, there we go. So let's start a new file. Okay, and let us add, well, let's go back to our dimensions. We're not going to add this dimensional picture I will give to you. I've also got it on my desktop, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it from my desktop straight into the 3D screen and drop it. And what that'll do is it will give me an image plane that I can work with. Okay, now I probably want it orientated rather than angled, so let me delete that. Let me go to the X front view and once again drag it in. So there it is. It's lined up with the grid. I can move that along the X and move it back, so GX. Okay. So I've got an easy reference inside Blender. I don't have to start flipping back and forth between screens and Blender and everything. It's there in front of me. I've moved it back off the center because I like to build on the center, and I can see that this palette is 800 by 1200. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to add a plane at the bottom to those dimensions, just as kind of a building grid if you like. So Shift A, add a mesh plane, and if I come to the properties, there we go, I can make this 1200, 1.2 meters, by 800, which is 0.8 meters. Okay, so that is the size of my palette. Okay, I'm just gonna rotate it around the Z or Z axis a little so it's in the same orientation as this. So RZ90 and enter. Alright, so this will be kind of like the footprint of my palette. So pallets are not precision instruments, you know, they're just kind of lumps of wood nailed together pretty roughly and coarsely, so we don't have to be too accurate. Okay, so what are we looking at? We've got our slats. On this one, the slats are two different sizes, but I think with mine, just to make things easier, I'll make them all in one size. And if we look at the larger size slat, we can see it's 145 millimeter by 22. So, shall I do slats first? No, I won't do slats first. What I'll do is a block first. Same kind of thing, they're different sizes, but I'll make mine uniform. So if we take this largest block, it's 145 millimeter by 78. So I can add a plane, or not a plane, add a cube, and I can make this 145, which is 0.145 meters. Why didn't that take? 0.145, enter. There we go. 0.145, enter. And the height we said was 78. Let's call it 80. 0.08 is 80 millimeters. So I've got this kind of cube here to make up the blocks on my palette. Alright, let's go into a front view. we can grab this on the z-axis, just bring it up to kind of meet there. Right, let's go into a top view. This is kind of hard to see, so what I probably want to do is add a material to this. Actually, I'm going to add it to the plane. So I'll add a new material. I can just call this plane. We'll be deleting this plane afterwards, so it's not that important. But when I come down to viewport display, I can change the color of this plane. Okay, so that's going to make my block easier to see. Right, if I go into a top view again, select this cube, I can just kind of grab it and move it to the corner. Okay. Now I can add an array to this. We know we want 3 cubes across, and we want 3 cubes along. We see that on our pillar, on our picture here. 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, and 3 sets of 3. So we can add an array to this. So let's come to the wrench icon, add a modifier, add an array. You see this is offset on the x-axis by 1, and I've got a count 2. So if I have a count of 3, that'll be my 3 blocks. And then I can just drag this slider across to get it about to where I need it, somewhere about there, I think. That's going to be close enough. Okay, I also need another array coming across for the other 6 blocks. So I can add a new array modifier. This one we can do on the y-axis, so let's change the x to 0. And we want 3. We can slide the y across. So now we've got our 9 blocks that make up the structure of our palette. Somewhere about there. It's not exactly 1200 by 800, but you know, it's close enough. We could work on it more. Let's go to our first one by using the shift key to slow this down and get it more precise. Somewhere about there. Let's go to our second one. Use the shift key. Shift and drag it across to get it more precise. But it's close enough for what we want. Alright, so let's have a look at the palette again. Coming across these 3 sets of blocks, we have 3 pieces of wood. Okay, and if we look at those dimensions, once again, now 145. Okay, they are 22mm thick, 7/8 of an inch, and they run the full width 800. So let's add another cube. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. So what did we say? They were 145mm. So that will be on the X dimension. So 0.145. We said on the Y it's going to be the width of this palette, so it's going to be 1200, 1.2. And on the height we said it was 22 millimeters, which is 0.022. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit, and there is a block. As you see, it fits quite well. Alright, so let's grab this on the XGX and bring it so it meets this one. GX, somewhere about there. And we want to above this block, so G and Z. Let's bring it up a bit. What we should probably do here is find a way to snap this surface to this block. And we can do this with the snap tool, the magnet. Okay, And what we probably want to do is snap it to a face. Okay, so we'll take it to closest. Let's GZ, and it's snapping to the bottom face, so that's not working for us. So what other options do we have? We want to snap it to a face. We don't want to snap it to center, I don't think. So GZ. No, it's snapping to the bottom. What about if we snap to volume? Closest. GZ. Keeps wanting to snap to the bottom of these. Okay. We did it in vertex. GZ. There we go. That seems to work. Okay. So snap to vertex worked. Alright, well that's good. We found our way around the snap tool. We can turn that snap off now. And we need an array on this to bring it across these blocks. So let's select our plank again. Let's add an array. We want 3, and we want to increase this X to about there. I can use my shift key to bring it a bit more accurate. Right, so how's this looking? Well, I actually did this wrong. Okay, because I was looking at these planks coming down, which is this way. But that's okay, we can still use these for the top. So what I wanted for the top is I wanted 5 blocks. So let's go ahead and increase this count to 5 and decrease the offset so they all fit somewhere about there. Let me just try and get this a little more accurate. There, that'll look good. Alright, so the other thing we were looking at these blocks which are the same dimensions, because if we look, we had this same 22mm dimension for the thickness. So it's 145 by 800 by 22. So let's add another cube, and this time we'll make this 0.145 tab 0.8 tab 0.022. Okay, so we can grab this up on the Z, rotate it by 90, Z 90. Alright, but we want these below these bits of wood. So what I can do is I can grab these on the Z, just move them up out of the way, and then I can work on this one. So if I go to a front view, I can grab and bring it down kind of close there. Alright, and let's go to a front view again. Actually side view, which is this one. With my numpad 3, I can grab it and bring it somewhere about there. Let's use our snap tool again. Doesn't seem to be snapping too well, but that's fine. Alright. So now we need to array this one 3 times or twice more. So we'll add a modifier, we'll add an array. The fixed count is going to be 3. And then I can change the offset to match. Get in a little closer and use my shift key to control this a little better, somewhere about there. Okay. Now I can grab this object and I can bring it down on the Z. My snap's still on, is it? It's not. GZ. Just my computer's kind of slowing up a little bit. Coming close. GZ. There we go. This object, it looks like I could probably move across a bit. So G on the X. So we've got this palette looking thing. Looking fairly good. This plane I think we're done with now, so I can delete that with the X or the delete key. And I'm going to want this center block or this sandwich block on the bottom as well. Again, if we look at the drawing, we've got some bottom rails here. So I'll shift D, shift duplicate that, and then press Z or Z. Just put it down underneath on the Z axis. Okay. So there I have a rough wooden palette, which is ideal for what we need.